That fresh produce stand there, that's a beauty.
What do you listen to?
My favorite murder podcast.
Taggart and Torrance podcast.
The produce stand.
Fucking sexy.
It's Margarita Monday, and that means we are once again hanging out at the produce stand, podcast paying tribute to everything in the universe. Margaritas. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are many other Letterkenny podcasts out there, but this one is all about the Squishmallows. I'm Al, your host, and joining me in the room as always is lovely Tanya. And online, we have Squirrely Matt and the valuable Victor. And joining us this week, she's a stand-up comic, a writer, a blogger, a fellow podcaster, and an actor. You'll be able to see her in the newest Crave series, Late Bloomers, and you can catch her on Roast Battles Canada, where she eviscerates any and all competition. Don't fuck with this girl. She will cut you verbally. We all know and love her as one half of the stand-up team of Alex and Olive, featured in this season's of Letterkenny. Please join me in making some noise for Olivia Stadler.
Wondrous! Oh my god!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Wait!
Oh my god! Oh my god! I regret nothing!
Welcome to the produce stand, Olivia.
You're right. That intro did give me an anxiety attack. So good job. Is that what the intent was?
Yeah, we got to keep you on keep you on edge, right?
Yeah. I know. Even just throwing up my blog, I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. There's a secret.
The Substack is a secret?
No, I'm kidding.
Very poorly
But you know when
secret.
you make stuff, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but you make stuff because you feel compelled. You have the artistic impulse to create stuff, but then actually having people consume it is a terrifying thought, but both have to exist.
Yes.
Like, what if just stranger? That's why doing this Letterkenny tour was a dream, because it's like so often I perform in front of my peers, which is a nightmare. It's like, I don't want anyone who knows me to perceive my art. You know what I mean? It's cringe.
Yeah, we've been doing this for what, three years? I think maybe 2 to 3 people that I actually know personally have listened to this podcast. They just don't know about it.
Yeah. Her sister found out about our podcast last year, like 2 years in. Yeah. And there was a reason we didn't tell her, though, because she listened to one episode and said, yeah, I'm good. We don't need to listen anymore.
I felt the exact same. There was a reference to somebody had sent a message saying that they were listening to us on the way to work in the morning. And I'm like, why are people listening to our conversation? Like,
it's creepy. It's really creepy. It's like, guys, this is my conversation with my friends and you're listening to it.
Yeah.
Just because I put it out in the world doesn't mean you actually have to consume it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember at the beginning I was counting. I'm like, 9 people are listening. Okay, there's 4. Trying to
If we each
figure out
listen
who the
twice,
people are.
then that's everyone's accounted
No, but then it's like, if nobody sends you a message, it's like, okay, well, my friends are hate listening. They're listening and they're seething and they're like, wow, she's annoying. I literally start I prelude every episode of my podcast, which I do quarterly, a quarterly podcast, by saying, Mom and Dad, please don't listen to this. And I mean it with all my heart.
Well, we have kids, so we tell them not to. We don't even.
We do the same.
How old are they?
Well, our son, our oldest, is 16, so we tell him, do not tell your friends about
That's my fear.
Because if they listen, they're going to have so much to.
But you say that, but then you brought him to their show.
That's right. Yeah,
like he was sitting front row listening to you in Burlington.
I'm trying to remember your kid.
He's a tall guy, tall, shaggy kid, front row. We were front row, kind of off to the
real
to your left.
To him.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
6'4". Anyway, we gave you guys T-shirts, if you remember, Ali.
I remember that. Of course, I remember. I remember meeting you guys.
Where were you speaking to us from?
I'm in Toronto, Ontario.
What part of Toronto?
No.
Oh,
just Toronto.
I don't want anyone to kill me.
Okay,
I don't want anyone to
the middle part, we'll say.
Sex murder me. You know what I mean?
That's fine. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Vaughan. Maple, Vaughan, Ontario.
The city above Toronto.
Got on the train and went down and stopped.
Yeah, I used to just be like, I'm from. It's like if I would go outside of Ontario, I would just say I'm from Toronto.
Sure.
Yeah. We still reference Toronto.
So growing up in Vaughan, how did Olivia Stadler decide she wanted to be a comedian? Or was that the first thing you wanted to do, or was there something else?
I literally didn't know about stand-up until I was like 21.
Okay.
Well, not that I didn't know about it. I think I just first of all, didn't see it as an option because I didn't see any female comics, and it wasn't really in my world. My parents didn't spend a lot of time watching stand-up. I remember they found Russell Peters, which is kind of cool. Like that's the first stand-up I ever saw at Christmas time when I was probably like 12 or something. My parents just kept playing it.
Right. His Christmas special?
I don't know. I think it was just a special.
Oh, okay.
It was probably like his original act was one of the greatest.
Yeah, we got to see him at Yuck Yucks before he was a thing. It was
really?
Yeah, but like we already knew his name, and because like his act before was pretty local, right? It was all about his growing up in Scarborough and stuff, right? Which was a lot of fun.
And his dad.
And his dad, yeah. Yeah, we loved it. But yeah, we used to go to Yuck Yucks a lot. So yeah, we were big fans of stand-up comedy.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys used to live downtown?
No, but I mean, it was our city outing, right? We'd come down to bars or whatever, but almost once a month, probably we'd go to the comedy clubs. Yeah. So yeah.
Do you guys still?
Oh, it's been a while.
We got
kids now.
Right, you have kids now.
Now we only go to the soft seaters to see you and Mark Forward and Jeff McHenry and
soft seaters.
Soft seaters.
Do you guys get free tickets for doing this podcast?
Oh, I wish. No, we don't. We had to pay. We paid.
Put in a good word. We'd love. We love free tickets.
Yeah.
Well, you guys can come to my shows if you want. I'll what's it called? I'll put you on guest list.
Well, and it's exciting. I mean, how excited are you that the tour is continuing and has been extended?
Super exciting. Like it's a dream come true to get to do a tour that I don't have to promote by myself, that I just get to show up to. And it's like with the fandom that Letterkenny has, I have to say, are the nicest, most well-meaning, kind, like it's just best fans. Like it's so nice to go and not feel, like the audience has their arms crossed and doesn't want to like you. Right. Because that's the case at a lot of audiences. They're like, well, this better be fucking good, but Letterkenny fans are just seem to be like the best type of people. So it's on so many levels. It's incredible. Traveling. I love staying in hotels. Doing this tour is actually the first leg of the tour. That's my first time ever performing in a theater. So that's a completely new experience as a stand-up. Like the way you perform is completely different. So I learned so much from doing that. And I really feel like I was able to take that and, grow as a comic. My little indie shows that I do. Right.
Well, let's start at the beginning though. So when did you first start? Like, when did you first get on stage and get on a mic? And like, who gave you that idea? I was, just to go back to your question before, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to university for, I guess people told me I was like good at writing, which is what you say to someone who's not good at math. So it's like, I don't even think I was good at writing, but then I had to become good at writing because I wasn't good at math. You know what I mean? So then I was like, I didn't know I remember for so long being in university and taking being like, I want to be a newscaster. Oh. But then I found out that means you have to be a journalist. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. I think I just kind of knew that I wanted to be on TV, right? But I didn't ever see acting because I was in high school. Yeah. And I wasn't in the acting program, so I'm like, well, it's too late. Right. I can't be an actor, and I just felt like it was like too far fetched. So I never really had the ambition for it. I would spend a lot of time in university not going to class and just like on Twitter. I used to be like very, very active on Twitter. And then I remember one day I started watching like the Mindy Project, and I was Googling while I was doing it, and I found out her story, which is that she was like a comic who wrote this. And I just never clicked that TV writing was a job, and then it just clicked. I'm like, that's it. Oh my God. It just clicked in my head. I'm like, that is it. And I remember like I was a dancer growing up, and I really started to dread dance when in university, which I didn't have to do. No one made me do it. I just like that. Those were all my friends were dancers. So I just kept dancing, and I hated it. Like I would be hungover, I'd be binge eating, I wouldn't try, I wouldn't show, I'd be late, I'd be the worst. And then I remember that night, I was like, I'm not going back to dance. Like as soon as I decided, I'm like, well, now I know I have a path. This makes me sound like a shitty person. I don't know why I needed to tell that anecdote. No. Well, it's funny you bring up dancing, because I was going to ask you, one of your first credits or your first credit on IMDb is for a movie called, where is it here? Cody the Robo Sapien. And you're not, it's not an acting credit, it's a dancing credit. So talk about that for a sec.
So random. So it was just, you know, when like obviously characters, an animated character will dance, they videotape and then they trace the actions. I don't really know how animation works exactly, but they videotaped us.
Okay. This is before motion capture, because this is 2013. So that they would do that. And so what kind of dance are you into or were you into?
I mean, I don't even think they ended up using me. I think that they just ended up using one girl because then they wanted to make everyone look identical. But I got the credit nonetheless.
You're in a director's cut somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm in a director's cut. I got the credit. It's so funny. That's been the only thing on my IMDb for so long. I think it's funny.
Well, you're adding to it now. I mean, there's a show now that just. We were supposed to have you on last Monday, but you couldn't because of a world premiere of a new show called Late Bloomers. Why don't you talk a bit about that?
That was I think that's the most fun I've ever had getting to act or be on set, because like I have a handful of other experiences, like obviously Letterkenny, but that was stressful because I was doing stand up and like worried about representing myself as a comic and then also it was our script. So I had other things in mind, and then I've been in like serious films, but this was my first time where I'm just like, I just have to come in, be funny, be a bitch, kind of just be myself, and then I get to leave. And just like, it was so much fun. It was so much fun to play with Jasmeet. I don't know if you guys know Jasmeet Reina. He was like a huge YouTuber, went away for a couple of years, has been working on this project, and has now reemerged into the creative space with this fantastic show, Late Bloomer. The whole cast and crew is like incredible. I'm literally in the show for half a second, and I've milked the absolute shit out of it. I've hung out with them. I've got,
You say that, but your character, I watched it. It was fantastic, by the way. And without you, that first episode wouldn't have happened. Like, you're basically the reason that everything hit the fan in that first episode. Without spoiling shit, you are the reason. So
this was me blackout drunk at 3 a.m. Everyone's like, "You're my family." I'm like, "You guys are my fucking I am the catalyst for this entire series. If you think about it, if I never won't spoil it, this show wouldn't be here. So we need to figure out how to bring you back for season 2. Everyone's like, you need to go home.
It is. I've only watched the first episode, but it's hilarious. I'm looking forward to dive into the rest of the series. Jasmeet's fantastic. It's got a future. It's a funny show.
So this is a new series on Crave. I don't know how our American listeners are going to be able to watch it. Hopefully it gets picked up by Hulu as well. But for now, it's only available on Crave, and it's called Late Bloomers. And you're in the first. How long is the season?
I think this season's like 6 episodes.
6 episodes, okay.
Maybe 6 or 8.
And you're in the first episode you're in the pilot.
I'm in the pilot, which is nice because that's typically the episode that gets watched the most.
Very cool.
And like I said, I am the catalyst for the entire plots.
You're the MVP.
Kind of integral to the plot. Yeah.
Amazing.
If you didn't drop the ball, nothing else would have happened.
Now there is another credit that's going to be coming out soon on your IMDb called for a show called Stalkers. Can you talk anything about that?
That is a indie movie I was starring in for 2.5 years. It's probably going to be 4. I know, because so much happened. Like I got really injured, and then it's like self-funded by the director Paul Thompson. Incredible. It's his first time directing. He wrote this script years and years ago, and he finally got a chance to make it. I'm like so honored that I wasn't even an actor, and then he just sought me out he saw me on Roast Battle, and then he just put me on a short list. Here's the thing, what's funny is that he has the same full name, Paul Thompson, as my ex-boyfriend before we were dating. This is how long the movie was going on.
Wow.
Like the movie has lasted longer than the relationship, because I thought I DM'd Paul and I was like, "Hey, did you write a movie where I'm a porn star? You want me or something?" And then we started dating, and then I was in this movie and it wasn't him, because he was like, "No, what up though?" And then and I got him in the movie in the end. He played my pimp. And then
wait, your ex-boyfriend played your pimp in the movie? In the movie. Directed by the guy with the same name as your ex-boyfriend.
With the same name. And then I have a daughter in the movie. Pardon?
There's no issues there at all.
No.
Love it.
No, it's crazy. Yeah. And it's funny because there's no way for me to tell that story without saying his name, because the name that I want to promote the name of the director without telling everyone the exact name of my ex-boyfriend. But c'est la vie, here we are. And I have a daughter in the movie. I don't know if this is what the information you were looking for. I have a daughter in the movie, but it's funny because like when we started the movie, she was 13. Now she's like 15 going on 16. So she's taller than me. She's way bigger rack than me. Her hair, she won't cut her hair because she's 16. Why would she want to cut her hair? It's going to be like Boyhood, but not on purpose. You know what I mean?
Right.
We didn't shoot it chronologically.
No. And
so when is this thing coming?
Yeah. When's it coming out? And the premiere, your daughter's going to look older than you.
Yeah. I hope so.
And you might be dating your ex-boyfriend again.
Or a new Paul Thompson.
or new one. Yeah. We'll see.
Amazing. Now you mentioned Roast Battles Canada, and that's kind of the first time I ever saw you. Before I knew who you were or anything about Letterkenny, I remember specifically some of the roasts you were in. I mean, talk about that. And one of the judges being Kay Trevor. So like, how did that come about? Was it because of your association with Letterkenny that you got on, or how did you get in there?
I think it was more just because of stand up. I'm trying to remember the timeline. So that was in 2021. We shot the first season. I didn't really know K-Trev really because he kind of like operates on a different echelon with his stand up. Like he tours as a headliner. And like I said, I mostly just do indie shows in Toronto or club shows in Toronto. But yeah, it was interesting because I feel like people think we know each other. We worked remote. Like when we got the Letterkenny job, that was during the pandemic, and Ali and I worked together, but there's no writer's room for Letterkenny. It's all filtered through Jared. That's why the show is so his voice and it's so unique. But yeah, I don't really know K-Trev that well. But it was cool. Like I felt like I'm like in alignment with him, and I'm like, that's my buddy. He probably has my back, maybe. I look up to him so much. He's such an incredible comic. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so just talk about like being a roast comic. Like this seems like something you excel at. I hope that you take that as a compliment.
So you're saying I'm a bitch. You think I'm a fucking bitch?
No, I'm saying you're really good at. You're
quick-witted.
You're a little scary. Is what I'm saying. Right. You're a little scary.
Yeah.
You're a little intimidating.
It was funny when that Late Bloomer show came out. Like my character is like the name of the character, because there's no name of the character. Again, still a huge part of the show, but no character name. Is like racist bitch or something like that. And then my mom, when she called me, she was just like, it was just nice to see you be yourself on screen. She was like, you're just being Olivia. Okay.
That's amazing.
I'm like my sense of humor is very blunt and like this, but I have a heart of gold.
Well,
but yeah, I'm quick-witted and I'm a little cunty.
Yeah.
So it works for roasting, I think. And I also I find roast to be like a love language. Like me and my family, like I have a big family and we all are pretty relentless in making fun of each other.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So when you're diving, I'm so curious about roasts, right? They're amazing, but there's definitely a certain skill when approaching them, right? Like what's sort of the train of thought going into preparing for a roast? Like how do you know if you're going too far or not far enough? And is there some pre-work you're doing before? Like, do you know who you're going up against?
And does your opponent say, hey, don't go there?
We have conversations. Like, do you have any no-go areas? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a big thing. You'll have a conversation. Sometimes your opponent won't give you information, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna just call you a pedophile then. Like, if you're not gonna give me, because it's like it's better to have. What I'll do when I'm preparing for a roast is I'll just accumulate as many facts as I know about them, and then I wish I had an example to think of right now, but it's like I'll look for okay. I did one against Paul Thompson, my ex-boyfriend. That was the first roast I ever did, which is also crazy. We weren't dating at the time. But so it's like I wrote him like he has like acne, right? And so then I'll write a bunch of associative words of that. And then it's like, oh, he's from Edmonton. So then I made it like an Edmonton Oilers, something about his skin being bad joke. And then so it's like I'm looking for things to connect of the facts about him.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Now I'm trying to get the timeline straight here because this is important. Facts are important.
Please tag him when you post this.
Was he your boyfriend after this roast?
Which one?
Like, did you take him apart and then he's like, I want to date this girl, or was this maybe the reason you guys broke up?
No, that was 2021.
Okay,
April, I think. But yes, no, that was what it was. And then we had this roast battle together. I went in to it. I felt like I had some like animosity against him for some reason. And then when we were sharing the stage, it was like electric, and I was like, oh, I'm deeply attracted to this man and I'm obsessed with him. And then I formed a crush on him after the fact. And then I got that script later on, and then I was like, oh my God, does he feel it too? And he wrote this movie about me. He wrote this movie about me so we could share a screen again. but then that wasn't the truth. But it did give me a reason to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
I
incredible.
Just
Beautiful love story.
A couple more roast battle.
I'm picturing the movie or the sitcom already.
Yeah.
It's just going to be called Paul Thompson, and that's it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Need to get back together.
Last thing on the roast battles. Are these in front of a live studio audience, and do you record them all at once, or is it like, how does that work?
We record, I think there's like 3 days of shooting, and then like every person on the show has 2 opponents. The audience, this is something I'm not too crazy about. Those are paid actors.
Oh,
I know.
That's a little disappointing. Yeah.
It is disappointing, not only for you guys, but more so for me, because it's like, well, they tell you just laugh at everything.
Right.
So you're not getting like a real tell.
Yeah.
And also it feels psychotic. I'm a stand-up. I'm not like, the idea of performing for people who are paid to laugh is like, it already takes a level of cognitive dissonance to do stand-up comedy, because to go on stage and like tell people your secrets, but then to do it and have it like be this extra level of false, it feels crazy.
Yeah.
It feels insane.
I wonder if the American version with Jeff Ross is done the same way.
I know, because the other thing is that it kind of takes a level of like the roughness and the edge out of it, because it's like you want there to be a potential for a joke to really bomb.
Yeah, you want groaners in there too, or
like
gasps
you want real
or something.
responses.
Yeah. That's a little disappointing.
Well,
I don't know why. I guess unless they want to just be able to control the.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's television. They need to
they
control
film it during the day, and they want to do it all in a chunk.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, if in order to get a live audience, they would have to do it downtown.
Yeah.
They would have to do a number of things, and then it would still. There's always potential for it to get ruined. You know what I mean? And then you've paid these comics for material that you don't get to use because someone stood up in the middle of the show and took off their pants. You know?
Sure.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
What's with the obsession with Squishmallows?
Damn it! There goes my question.
Oh, sorry, Matt. I only asked because we were talking about our kids. My daughter is obsessed with Squishmallows, and so you have something in common.
What? You're gonna be heartbroken to find out that I'm kind of moving on from that phase. I think it was just like a weird. I don't know. This guy I was talking to told me he thinks I have like autism or something. I thought it was just depression, because it really helped with my depression. But the way that I was collecting them does signify something larger. But they really helped me for a while, and I think they're cute and they're so soft. And now I just have 4 of them littering my house. But they're really good as pillows. They're amazing friends. Maybe I got it when I was going through a breakup when I got that first one. Well, I got that first one, and then I started taking pictures with it and talking about it. And then someone who works for Squishmallows gave me 2. And then it kind of just became like a funny personality thing. And then when I was on the road with Letterkenny, I saw one at a gas station in Ohio, and then Jeff was like, "You have to buy it." And I was like, "Is this whole like Squishmallow thing, is this giving molested?" And that was the hardest I've ever made Jeff laugh. Giving molested. I wasn't molested, by the way. I have great parents.
Okay.
And no one else did either.
We believe you, and this isn't that kind of podcast. So let's we'll move on.
Imagine that was just my answer. Oh, I was molested. That's why I like Squishmallows.
Talk about being a comedian in Toronto. Like I was a big fan of a show called Crashing, which is like Pete Holmes being a comedian in New York. Yeah. Great show. What would be like, is it the same, or would you say it's, you have to do bringer shows and stuff? It seems like you do a lot of work at the Comedy Bar. Is that kind of like your home base, or do you, how often do you get on stage? All those kinds of things.
Yeah, I get on stage as often as I can, like between like 7 and sometimes like 15 times a week. Like obviously on the weekends you can do a lot more. I like to do like 3 or 4 shows on Fridays and Saturdays. Maybe I'm being exaggerative with that number, but I try to get up as much as I can. If someone asks me to do a spot, I'm there. Like, it's my favorite thing in the world to do. It is very similar to the New York scene. It's smaller, obviously, but it functions more or less the same. And then the ceiling is a lot lower. Like, we don't have the type of opportunities. It's like, an agent can be in the audience that'll change your life, and that in this historic Comedy Cellar. So we don't have the same,
What are some of your favorite venues to play in Toronto? Like I know, like I said, it's not a massive market, but there's like the Corner Comedy, there's Comedy Bar, there's
Yuck Yucks.
is the Yuck Yucks. What's the one up on Eglinton? Is it still there? Abs?
Absolute. You know what? A lot
Absolute.
of these stages, it sucks because like Yuck Yucks is actually downtown is one of my favorite stages to be on, but their protocol for having comics is like extremely strict, and like I'd have to leave. I have had a lot of conversations with Mark Breslin about working there because I really would like to, and you know, it's one of the only institutions that offers opportunities to do long sets,
Right.
which I want to do more often to work on a long set, obviously, so I can continue to grow as a comic. But I'd have to leave my agent because they need to be your agent. But my agent's been good to me, so I just it's complicated.
You had Mark on your podcast before. Those who don't know, Mark Breslin is the owner of Yuck Yucks, and Yuck Yucks is kind of a chain of comedy bars throughout Canada, right? It's not just in Toronto. I know
the only guest I've ever had on my podcast.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, if you get in on Yuck Yucks, it means you don't have to just work in Toronto, right? You can work across Canada, right? At other Yuck Yucks.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
You could do that with or without Yuck Yucks. The thing about Yuck Yucks is it used to be a lot more what's the word? Of a thing you kind of needed to
Right. It was a bigger
function as a
deal than
comic.
it is now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's but because I mean just the game of stand up is changing a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, Yuck Yucks is like an incredible historic institution. It's cool to like be overlapping with it, and I've gotten to play that stage because again, that room is fantastic. But I really like the cabaret space, a Comedy Bar West. I fucking love at Comedy Bar Danforth, the main stage. That actually might be my favorite stage. So fun.
Did you ever play the old the previous location for Corner Comedy? A tiny little stage.
All of the iterations. Yeah, they're all.
I love
they're
that little
really
space.
cool.
There's no
Pardon?
hiding there. I love that little
No.
space. There was no hiding there.
Yep. That was actually the first comedy show I ever went to watch in Toronto was at the Corner Comedy Club, the original one on John Street.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's a fun space.
Just up the road from where you used to work at Gretzky's.
Yes.
Wait,
queen.
so did you actually work there, or that's just part of your act?
Yeah, I worked there. One of the worst jobs I've ever had in my life.
I love your
And
Gretzky
you actually
story.
didn't, and you actually thought he was dead.
I didn't think he was dead. That's a punchline, but I didn't recognize him. And I was just like, I can't be serving this guy because I'm gonna I don't know.
Now, for the longest time, the back of Gretzky's used to be also the home for Second City.
Second
right?
City.
Exactly. Did you ever mingle with those folks? Or like, were you ever into improv?
When I started stand up, so going back to that, the original question of when I started, so I read Mindy Kaling's book, and then the instruction of like how to start stand up or straight how to get into comedy writing was to do either stand up or improv, because it's like you have to do comedy for yourself, learn how to write for yourself, learn how to articulate humor. If you're in a writer's room, you'll want to know how to pitch a joke, write a joke. So then I was like, okay, I'll take a writing class, and then I will take a improv class, and I'll take a stand up class. I took all of those at Second City, and then I just fell in love with stand up.
Very cool.
So that's also why I worked out Gretzky's, because it was right there when I was taking classes at Second City.
Yeah, fair enough. I know Al's going to take us towards Letterkenny. One more question on stand up. When early on, when you were refining your act, were you as sounds right, but like, were you as crude out of the gate, or like was your approach to it a little cleaner when you started before you kind of found your confidence, just throw the nasty out there, or like how did you start, and how did it evolve?
I was far more crude when I started.
Really? Okay, the other way.
I was just bombing. Yeah, of course. That's the thing about stand-up that's like I think people don't realize, and I'm very reluctant to use the word brave to describe a stand-up comedian, because we're far too pathological to even anyways. It's the only art form where you have to practice publicly. You know what I mean? You have to be bad. You have to be bad at anything before you're good at it. But for us, you have to be bad in front of people and just shoulder that until you figure it out. And you just gotta be honest with yourself, like watch your sets back and be like, why isn't this working? And then you just figure it out.
Wow.
Very cool.
So yeah, I had to learn. I would just be like the worst, my most crude jokes. Like my most crude jokes are my first jokes. And now I've learned to like kind of cushion them with slightly less crude jokes.
So you're like overexcited. You came out so strong. These ones are going to nail. Then they did. And you're like, oh shit, that was too far.
That was the other thing that was crazy is it's just like when I would do jokes and being like, I'm like, it's that's the other reason why I think it's kind of brave is it's like you're going on stage and you're like, I don't have the ability to switch gears if I'm bombing. Like now, if I'm bombing, I'm like, okay, they don't like that. So I'll do this. You only have 5 or 6 jokes when you're starting stand up. So it's like,
yeah.
Well, if you hated that one, guess what, folks? You're gonna fucking hate this one too. You know what I mean? And then you just do it. You just do it anyways because it's like that's the only thing you have, and you have to do the job. The job is to do 5 minutes or 7 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just figure it out.
Well, let's get to the part of the show that everyone's waiting for, and that's to talk about Letterkenny. And I've got a little clip here. We're talking about stand-up comedy here. The episode that you're on in Letterkenny season 12. One of the regular cast members tried stand-up comedy, and she talks a little bit about it here.
So yeah, I could ask for like stage present advice, timing, but I think you learn better by just kind of watching and absorbing. And I definitely had a lot of opportunities to do that watching Trev and Mark on the road. Yeah.
And I imagine Ali and Olivia, because they're kind of more standard stand-up comics, might have had, some tips for you.
Yeah, well, they wrote it. They wrote that. Yeah. They wrote all the stand-up for that episode. And they were so great and so supportive. And when I was on the stage sweating and so nervous, I looked over at them a few times and they were giving me big beaming smiles and being so sweet about it. So yeah, they were great.
That was Michelle Milet talking about, her first try at stand-up comedy. Now, can you remember, I'm sure you remember that, shooting that, were there what kind of pointers were you giving Michelle before she got on stage?
I don't know if we were giving her pointers, because that was the other thing that was interesting to me is she was really nervous about quote unquote doing stand-up, but it was like, this isn't it. To me, it felt like this isn't doing stand-up. This is just acting.
Right. Yeah.
Because we're on set right now in front of that's why, again, with like the Roast Battle Canada, it felt like when you're performing in front of paid actors, it's like it doesn't feel like doing stand-up, but I also recognize that there is a hybrid experience. So obviously I don't know, I think she did a really great job. I don't know if there is pointers to be given for stand-up, because for everyone, what they're coming with and what they need to change and what they need to improve on is so unique to what they're doing.
Right.
But it is very exciting to watch someone, do a good job or like try stand up for the first time, especially women. Like I'm always excited, to be there, like smiling and being like, you're doing fucking great, which you are, and does that answer the question?
Yeah, pretty much. We were blown away when we talked to Michelle that her background, like she started off in improv. So, she kind of had that comedy.
She does have comedy experience
in improv. Yeah, but not in stand up. And, I guess they're two very different disciplines, but, it was interesting to find out about her. How well do you know Ali? Well, actually, let's start with, how did you get involved in Letterkenny? How did they reach out to you, or, how did that happen?
It was crazy. It's so funny. Like it hasn't really happened to me since, but I don't know. I guess sometimes you get an email that just changes your life forever. And that's what that was, because it happened, right before the pandemic. I was 25 years old. They asked us to write that International Women's Day episode. And then we did. And the other thing is Ali was already my best friend.
Okay.
And then we wrote that together and it made us closer, and it was so much fun. And then Jared was really, really happy with our work, and he was busy with a few other things. And he was like, hey, would you guys want to take these scripts and like add some jokes, punch them up? And then we did. And then he was really impressed with that. And then he just decided to take us fully on as punch up writers. And it was like a dream come true for me and Ali, like to get to work together as best friends and become closer. And I can't even put into words like how incredible and life-changing Letterkenny has been, because doing that, and then he gave us more of the second season. Next season he let us write full episodes, which meant more money, which meant I didn't have to work at fucking Wayne Gretzky's anymore. Like when I came back from the pandemic, I was full-time stand-up because he changed my life over that time period, you know, and now I get to do this full time, which is really, really, really difficult in this country. And I get to apply for my visa now because I have these credits. I don't know if this is answering the question. Allie's my best friend. It's all a dream come true. It really is.
You knew Allie from the circuit, I guess, from the clubs?
Stand up. We actually started the same month.
Okay.
Oh.
We met at a competition, like an amateur competition.
Very cool. We're going to have her on next week. So
Nice.
If there's anything you want to say about her right now, we will play it for her.
She's a fucking bitch.
There we go.
There you go. Flipped.
Do you collaborate in person then, or on online with her?
We collaborate online because we get too distracted IRL.
Yeah.
We'll just like start smiling and laughing, and you know.
That's funny.
So is this Letterkenny Presents tour that we saw you in Burlington? Is this the first time you've been touring with your comedy?
Yeah, I guess so.
Mm-hmm. And like playing soft seats, venues and that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, like I've quote unquote gone on tour, being like I'll go to Montreal and do a bunch of spots, or I'll go to Vancouver and do a bunch of spots, but like no one's coming out to see me. Like you'll just make a tour poster to make it look like you're more important than you are. So yeah, this would be the first time I've on a real tour for sure.
So talk about that a bit, being on the road with these four comics, or three comics, Mark Forward, Jeff McHenry, and Allie Pierce. How's that been?
It was, I can't even, it was such a life highlight to get to do my favorite thing. Like I love staying in hotels. That's not my favorite thing. Stand up is my favorite thing. Mm-hmm. But getting to do it with Allie, and then two comics I look up to enormously, and getting to grow as a comic and be on it was so much fun. And I only had more fun with every show. It was, I don't know. I can't really even express in words how much it meant and how much it means.
Were there any locations or venues that you did on the tour that stood out? Like places you'd love to go back?
I really I know the Boston show, Mark Forward makes jokes about it because that guy stood up and sang, but that was my favorite show just because the venue was so amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really enjoy American audiences. They really make me understand like why South Park depicts us Canadians the way that they do. Like we are a flattened version. We are a flattened version of Americans are just like electric and I don't know, personality wise. And it's just like, you can feel that in the room when you're performing in front of Americans. I got no Tino shade. I'm a patriot.
You mentioned the Boston show. Our listeners, we told them that you were going to be on and they gave us a bunch of questions. First one here is from our buddy Jeff in Maine. And he said, you were hilarious at the Boston show. Do you have any funny or strange stories from this or any tour you've been on?
From Boston?
Yes.
Specifically?
Yeah.
Or any
of the other stops.
Or any of the other
stops. But he was at your Boston show and he said you were hilarious. So
I'm trying to think of funny stuff. I should have reread my my tour journal before this.
Oh, you kept a journal?
I'm blanking out. Yeah, and there'll be a Substack, so look out for it. Once I finish the whole tour, I think I'm just gonna do a tour diary Substack post.
Now we'll
just link this part of the interview to the Substack once that's ready.
Yeah. So that's where you can find your answer, King. Jeff from Maine.
Very good.
Stay tuned.
Not that he would ever in any way condone such behavior at a show, but what's the best heckle you've ever gotten? And that's from Trace in Tennessee.
What's the best heckle I've ever gotten? I had a heckle the other. I mean, it wasn't a heckle. It was someone like I was like doing comedy, and she was like, "She ate." Like when someone screams like that, but that's not a heckle. Mm-hmm. I guess the only heckle that I condone is when, like someone says I'm beautiful or attractive or something like that. It's unacceptable to heckle. If you must, please make it a compliment.
Very cool.
Or, like a heckle, it's not, I guess it's how you define heckling. Because some people just speak out of turn. Like some people would be like, oh, that's fucking funny. Or that's smart. That's a good joke. Mm-hmm. So that's not heckling. Like that's just like a, involuntary response that it's like,
they just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Or no, it's just like, when you like, I don't know. I do that sometimes. Like I'll just speak. I'll be like, oh my God. Oh, that's funny. You know what I mean? Just like an involuntary response, but a heckle.
Or like how if someone challenges you on your shit, like mid act? Does that happen?
Oh yeah. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes there have been times where people will ask a question for me to like elucidate what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And either it'll make me realize that I haven't done that, made it clear enough what I'm talking about, or it'll give me an opportunity to like respond to them, give another joke. I don't want to condone heckles because I don't, want to encourage that behavior, but it's not my least favorite thing in the world, honestly, because I tend to be pretty quick and it usually earns me another laugh when I get to respond to hecklers.
Do you have a favorite?
So, your quick-wittedness. So yeah, I was just going to ask, like, your quick-wittedness would kind of almost position you to be the kind of comic that would interact with audiences and ask questions and kind of build on that. Is that something that you kind of work into your act sometimes?
I do. I used to do a lot of crowd work and a lot of that, but now I'm finding that there's like an oversaturation of crowd work because people want to post stand up, but they don't want to burn their material before they're ready to. So now there's like such an oversaturation of crowd work. And when I'm at shows now, I'm like really noticing comics doing like almost no material because they're like, they just want to get clips.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to get crowd work clips. And then it's kind of, I find it like, it's like bastardizing and like perverting the medium a little bit. And it's it's something that I'm good at and I enjoyed, but now it's pissing me off.
Right.
Yeah. So on that note, with like in the recent episode that you guys were in season 12 there, did you write all the bits for that stand-up? Including Wayne's or Jared's piece, right? Where he was doing crowd work and it was very just talking to people. Like, there was no actual jokes there. Like, was that intentional and that a take for Wayne?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what we were most excited to watch because we were like, oh, it's going to be so funny to watch him like think he's doing crowd work, but then having these most like banal conversations with people. And we were just like, it was very satisfying to like picture that and then get to watch it.
Crowd work gone wrong or right, depending how you look at it.
Watching him do it, like I almost wish they didn't cut it as much as they did, because watching him do it with all the silences in between and the just stillness was so funny.
So uncomfortably funny, I'm sure.
Was that your guys' first time on set, or were you there for International Women's as well?
That was our first time on set. I think we were invited before, but we were just busy with whatever.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Our buddy Jay from Edmonton, he asked, one of my favorite episodes of Letterkenny is International Women's Day. I can't imagine how much fun it was to write some of the ladies' dialogue that day. Did you guys come up with anything that didn't make the cut or was deemed too much?
Shit, I really should have looked at my Google Docs before this, because me and Allie kept getting this question during the Q&As. Mm-hmm. And then it made me go, fuck, we need to take some time to go look. Because I know every single time we would submit jokes to Jared, he's such a sweetheart, or just so encouraging, and just like the best. Like, he would always tell us his highlights, like his favorite jokes that we submitted, and he would, like say like 5 or 6 of them. And it was always actually nice because it's like we submitted all in a chunk, mm-hmm. but it would always be half Allie's and half mine.
Oh,
so I know it was like really interesting that it worked out that way. It made us both feel like, okay, we're both pulling our weight mm-hmm. equally, if it almost is always like that. Anyways, there would always be a joke that I'm like, why not that one? That one's so funny. But, there's also like, I don't know, something that I would say in my act that I would think is really funny would not be funny if someone else said it, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Especially someone who is a character, and like, character driven mm-hmm. comedy is different than stand up.
Well, that'd be a good Substack post, would be just all of the ones that didn't make the cut, just.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, we'll insert it into this question as well. Yeah. We're going to have a whole bunch of Substacks injected into your interview here. It's going to be great.
Well, maybe I actually should just look through those and just recycle whatever jokes, but I would not know. Here's the other problem is I wouldn't know if Allie wrote it or me, so then I couldn't steal her joke.
Yeah. Tobias from Missouri has a million and one questions here, but I'll ask a few here. There's been talk about like some Universal spinoffs, so spinoffs from Letterkenny and or Shoresy. Do you know anything about any of them, or would you be involved in writing in any of those?
Why don't I get any audio questions?
Audio questions.
like I was listening to Mark Forward before this, and he got some people they had to hear their voices. I want to hear Tobias. I didn't know that was the real name.
Oh yeah, no, no recording. Sorry.
We'll do that. We'll do another interview. We'll get some audio ones.
Yeah, have me back. I'm honestly out, guys. This is disrespectful. Victor, is your mic off? I miss you. Sorry, I don't know if anything is going to happen. I think that they've put out some teaser type things. If they do it, I fucking hope to God that I'm involved. I really, really, really hope I'm involved, and I hope that happens because it seems like there's like a hunger and a want for it. So but if I knew, I couldn't say anyways. But I don't know.
Tobias,
but maybe they don't tell me because I'm a liability, and I just talk about my ex-boyfriend ad nauseum on a podcast.
Right.
You keep mentioning your ex-boyfriend. Is that are you trying to put vibes out into the world that you're ready for a new boyfriend? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm really not ready for a new boyfriend. Why are you interested?
Well, you can kind of let your fans know kind of what your, dream date is, like what activities you like to do on your date, so people can learn about you a little bit.
Okay. You know what? I have dated so many broke men that can't drive, and I've loved the fuck out of them. And I think I'm ready to date someone who A, has their G2, and B.
Okay. So an Uber delivery driver. Got it.
No,
you need a G to be an Uber driver.
I need.
He only wants G2.
I've already proved to the world I'm not a gold digger. I need someone rich now. It's my turn.
You've earned it.
Is it gonna be my turn? Do you guys like Lana?
So somebody that comes with a driver.
No, I don't even need that.
Well, maybe it's Tobias because he's going to see you both in Indianapolis and Kansas City, and he's offering to buy you a beer in either city when you guys go there.
I don't think I'm invited on those stops.
No. So is it because
tell him to fly me out if he's rich? Yeah. If he's so rich, why doesn't he fly me out and ask them to be on the show?
He will listen to this and get back to you with an answer.
Like DM me, Tobias.
Let's see here. Do you have any more?
I talk to all my DM writers, my best friends. The wind beneath my wings. And who DM me.
Matt can attest to that. Yeah, here's one from our friend Casey in Virginia. She said, "Do you have any more stillborn jokes that you can share with us on Insta soon?" And that Andy Grammer bit was hilarious and on point.
Oh, thanks. I didn't even know what she was talking about for a second. Oh. Yeah, I was thinking about doing that because one thing I've really noticed from watching my sets back, like I keep all my sets in like a folder on my laptop, and I will go back and watch them sometimes to just like, track my growth and see. Also, I'll notice I'm like, oh my God, I stopped telling that joke, but I never really did anything with it because it either died, it stopped having like, I don't know, like whatever juice it had. And I'm like, I feel like I should just start posting jokes that I can tell are not gonna proliferate into like something that stays in the real act that I'm building. Having said that, it makes me insecure sometimes because I'm like, I don't want people to think that the jokes I put on Instagram are my best jokes, because my best jokes are ones that I'm still polishing and not ready to put out yet.
Right. So
but whatever.
Fine balance there. Our buddy Jez from Australia, this is an important point here. He asks, if you could go on the road internationally outside of Canada and the US, what would be your ultimate destination? Asks Jez from Australia.
Jez from Australia, fly me to Australia. You sound hot. I want to come. I like the beach. I'll come to Australia.
Yeah.
Thank you for the offer, Jez. DM me.
And we can attest.
Like how you totally interpreted that in your own way. I love
Jez is a good-looking dude, and he plays guitar. So there you go.
Yeah, and the accent's nice as well.
And he's got a good accent.
I actually don't want a boyfriend yet, but people can start like submitting their resumes because I will need one eventually, and I want to have a baby. If that's something you're interested in, Jez, is that your answer to your question? Yeah, I want to go on tour. I want to go on tour all over the world, but I need more fans first. So spread the word, Jez. You sound hot. Next question.
Casey asks, what is your advice for women trying to get into comedy?
The same as any gender, just go out and do it. And don't start fucking people at the open mics. Do not start fucking a bunch of male comedians, because I've seen so many girls with potential. I don't know if this is coming across the wrong way, but I've already started. I've seen a lot of great women with potential stop doing comedy because they fuck someone or they fuck too many people, and then the men kind of band together and then they just feel awkward because like, again, the ratio of men to women at open mics is in men's favor. So then it's like, you just feel awkward. Like I've had sex with comedians and I feel awkward, but I'm so ingratiated in the scene that it wouldn't make sense for me to not go. But I could see at a different point in my career, if I had done that early, I don't know if I would have had the confidence to just show up and continue to also bomb and be bad and try to get better at comedy in front of people that, so yeah, do comedy. Don't fuck people. People are going to try to fuck you. You sound hot. Do it. Write comedy and then do it.
But don't do them.
Don't do them. Wait until you're a couple years in, or find them to be your boyfriend for 4 years. That's what I did. For my first 4 years of comedy, I had the same boyfriend, and yes, he was a comedian, and no, he couldn't drive. Shout out, Jacob.
Toronto. You're in Toronto. You don't need a car.
Our friend Cassie from Simcoe, Ontario. She's been to a few of your shows. You might know her. She was with us in Burlington as well. She said, you were hilarious at both shows I went to and were so kind when I met you during the VIP. Thank you for her question. What advice? Well, you just gave the advice for women who want to get into comedy. But second part of her question was, do you find there are different industry standards for women than there are for men? It sounds like you do.
I mean, I wouldn't even know how to get into all that because it's so just enveloped into so many elements of it. Like it's like I was having a conversation with like Allie today via voice note where it's like, oh yeah, like, there's like intricacies that I'm like, that happens because woman, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if I could just like lay out, a rubric of what to expect. But you want to start doing comedy, Cassie? That's amazing. Do it.
Yeah, she's been threatening to do it for a while now. It'd be great. We'd be there to see her, no problem.
Hold on. Did you have any comedians that you looked up to or saw on the road? You're like, I just fucking love them as you were finding your voice?
Yeah, I mean, people want to shit on Amy Schumer, but I wouldn't have started stand-up if she didn't exist because she was really huge in comedy. And I didn't realize that. I was like, oh my God, dumb sluts can do this too. And I thought she was the funniest person in the world. And like, cause it's like, she spoke to me and like retrospectively, I watch the jokes now and I see what people are talking about. They're not, entirely original, but this is something that I'm trying to like remember when I'm trying to be less precious about my material and my jokes and my writing is that it's like, it's not your jokes that are funny. It's you that's funny. And it's like, obviously both are funny, but it's, you would rather watch, if you like a comic, you'll watch them say anything. Right.
Yeah, right.
So it really, I just like found her so funny. And I just like, I hadn't seen that before. And like that happened like when I read the Mindy Kaling book and then I was like, oh, stand up. And then I like looked up female stand-up comedians and I saw her and I was just like smitten. And then Nikki Glazer was another huge influence for me. Sarah Silverman, all the classics. Yeah. And then Rebecca Kohler in Toronto. And I'm a huge fan of Catherine Cohen and Jordan Jensen. So many people I look up to.
Have you ever had the opportunity to meet any of them?
I opened for Jordan Jensen when she was in Toronto. She was incredible. I was going to do Catherine Cohen's show in New York, but then the pandemic happened, but she responds to my DMs when I message her, which means a lot.
That's nice.
She's one of the most original, hilarious voices in comedy, I think.
Gord from Toronto, he said he really enjoyed seeing you in Burlington as well. He's curious how you found the transition to in front of the camera, like for the live at Modine. Well, that wasn't your first acting, but anyway, going from stage to front of the camera, how was that transition for you?
Me and Ali actually had that conversation that doing roast battles first was good for informing that stand-up acting hybrid. Because like when I was first doing the roast battle thing, I was like, it was pretty jarring. And then when I came around the second season, I realized I'm like, oh, just treat it like an acting gig. If I would retake jokes, like you can pause and be like, I'm going to take that again. So that's how me and Ali did that. Like whenever it would be clunky, you could just stop. And it was interesting to treat stand up like acting. It made it pretty relaxing. It was interesting. I don't know. I also, I can barely watch that episode. I mean, I did watch it and I was very proud of myself and it was really cute and heartwarming and, everything. But I feel like I've already grown as a stand up since that. So I remember some of the choices I made acting and doing stand up that I don't think I make as a comic now. So I don't know if it's like fully representative of me as a comedian, but I don't think it's really about that anyways.
Letterkenny loves those slow motion scenes. What were you thinking during that slow pull out scene? You know, you and Allie are sitting at the bar and it takes forever to zoom out. How long does that scene take to shoot? Is it like a split second? And if so, like, what are you thinking? It's like,
I actually
don't move.
I have no memory of that shot. It was like, I think it was the
you
last.
See in your face. You're like, wait, what?
No, when I saw that shot, I was like, I was transfixed. I love that shot. It's an incredible shot.
Yeah.
I think I was probably just worried about like the way I was like sitting on a chair in a crop top, trying to suck in as much as humanly possible. That's probably what I was thinking about. I mean, if you look at my face, I look brain dead as hell. So I imagine that's what I was thinking about. Suck in, queen.
And
suck your shit in, queen.
Are Riley and Jonesy's dance moves as funny in person as they are on screen?
I don't know, because it's like on screen I'm able to see them as the characters.
Sure.
But in real life I could only see them as the people that they are. So I think funnier on screen because they become the characters on screen versus like every time there's a cut, there's such a vast difference between, you know, Andrew and
Dylan.
Sorry, Dylan. He's not gonna listen to this. Do you think the cast listens to this?
Some of them do. Jared does. So
hey.
Yeah. So hold on really quickly on that one. When you were on set, was there anyone that really caught you off guard when you met the real version of them versus what you had come to known in their dialogue and their portrayal on screen?
I feel like Gail is the classic example. Like Gail is the most vast difference between her IRL and her character.
That's fair.
Our final listener question here. What is your favorite line that you didn't write? And what's a favorite line that that you did write? And that's from our buddy Dennis in the UK.
Here we go again, making me wish I went through the Google Docs.
We'll just have to have you back on with all these.
You have to. I'm gonna miss you guys.
We'll fact check you.
Yeah.
I had some like, what's it called? I remember. I don't think these are the funniest things that didn't make it in, but I remember thinking they were really funny. What did I have? I had some band names. Like a lot of them, you'd be like, you just have to. Sorry, I'm struggling. Like punny kind of band names, like that they'll just like rifle off.
Yeah.
What did I have? I had. Okay, wait. Maybe you'll just edit this part out. Maybe I will pull up a Google Doc.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't edit, but we can, vamp while you look up the doc.
We do whatever we want here, right?
You just talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, you say you listened to the Mark Ford interview. Did you hear Victor's joke that he told?
No, I was fast forwarding through parts.
Good.
What was it?
Yeah.
That would have made sense to fast forward.
Yeah, it made complete sense.
I was helping the man, and now he knows he's got somebody to count on if he's a light on material.
No, if he wants to save his career, he will completely ignore.
I'll give you a softie while you're looking through your Google Docs. Mm-hmm. So let's say you're at an intersection.
No girl ever wants a softie, man.
Settle down. So let's say, you had an opportunity to go into writing, acting, or stand up. Where do you levitate? Where do you go?
I think I'm a through and through stand up. Like I really love doing stand up, but I would never want to give up any of them to be honest. The more I do of all of them, the more I love, and the more I see that they lend to each other, and
So you're hoping for more acting jobs?
I would love more acting jobs. Those are what pay the most, and they're really fun. And I'm like, I also am just like, I feel like a newbie at acting, so it's kind of exciting to figure that out. I mean, all of these art forms are really exciting to figure out and get better at. But acting is the thing that makes people like acknowledge your career the most, because people don't see the work that goes into stand up. Like I do so much stand up and so much goes into stand up, but people only see what actually gets aired. So it's funny that like, I don't know, whenever something's on TV, that's what people think is like the epitome of my work. when it doesn't feel that way to me. Yeah. But it's nice to have those things to point to so that people believe in you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
your parents get so proud when you're on TV.
Sure.
Like I follow you on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of others listening here do as well. And you're out there grinding every week. Like I can see it. And the passion, you just want, I've seen a lot of your comments and your stories. You're like, you just want to perform. And there's such a passion there. And I mean, I've seen you live as well. It definitely comes through. So
thank you.
I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm constantly just oh wait.
There you go.
We're about to have
let me
an
just read you
epiphany
some
here.
of these because these are I'll just be dying laughing. I used to get so high and just they're not even funny. All American retards, One Erection, Rape Van Morrison, Jizzy, Red Hot Chunky Cocks, 9 Inch Cocks.
Wait, Red Hot what?
Red Hot Chunky Cocks. Some Doubt, Ungrateful Undead. Some these are not even funny in retrospect, but I remember 3 Doors Down Syndrome. That one's good. Maroon 4, Adam Levine died getting another shitty tattoo. I don't even know what this was for. Paralyzed.
That one's brilliant.
I think 3 Doors Down is a restaurant as well, so that could work for that.
Sure. Anyway, Ali.
King of Leon's Don't Pay a Cent event. It's so stupid.
Kings of Leon's. I like that one.
The Craisins, now that they're old, they go by the Craisins. The Cranberries. Yeah. Okay, these are getting stupid.
I like the Maroon 4 one. That was great.
Yeah. Tan, do you have any final questions for Ali? Or for Olivia?
Olivia.
Olivia.
Wow. No, it's okay. I'm sorry to be flattered to be mistaken.
Horrible.
Just, hey, don't kill yourself, okay? Hey, don't jump off a bridge after this, okay?
I
forgive you.
I feel shame. I feel shame.
You have a soundboard this whole time?
Yes.
Well,
there has to be a round 2 now because she's very disappointed with this performance.
We're holding back.
No. I'm having a blast. You guys are a great podcast.
I'm sure. Tanya, do you have any final
Olivia,
questions?
thank you so much for sharing your time with us. You've been fantastic to talk to. My questions is, who do you enjoy writing for the most? There's so many strong female characters like Katie, Mrs. McMurray, Gail, Tanis, Bonnie. That all being said, there's also Glenn and Coach. Like, do you have somebody that you love writing for?
I think that I don't know if it's one character really ever. Like it's always fun to do like the Riley and Jonesy bouncing back and forth because the way I'll write is like I'll think of a lot of like the next thing that would be said, and sometimes I have to cut myself off and like reduce. But it's fun to have that, and then be like, and then what would happen after that, and then what? That. So then Marianne and Betty Ann have that same dynamic. So they're all really fun to write for. But honestly, it's all just the same amount of fun. I really couldn't rank it.
Do you, when you are collaborating, then do you pick like whether you're Riley and your co-writer is Jonesy and just try to go back and forth with what the banter would be?
No, it would be like I would just think of a bit like in my head, and then but it would be really, really, really satisfying when one of us would come into the Google Doc because I would write at night and Ali would write in the morning. So we would always get to like log into the Google Doc to find each other's work. And then we would just be laughing, and then adding jokes and tags to the other person's stuff, which was so exciting, being like, oh my God, you just like, I thought it had a punchline, but now you added like a real punchline or a tag or, so yeah, that was always really, really fun. It was, and again, it's one of those things that just, it made me love Ali even more. It made us even closer, knowing how well we could work together, because that can be a scary thing as friends and colleagues, comedians, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, I want to work with you because I respect you so much and I think you're so hilarious and fantastic and I want to be associated with you and I want to be close to you. But what if we work together and it makes me hate you?
Right.
And it couldn't have been more opposite from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it made us fall more in love.
Phenomenal job, both of you. And I wanted to also ask, prostate exam. Did you have any writing on that one? That episode? Prostate?
Yes, ma'am. Let me pull up the doc.
And if you did, kudos, because that was so wonderfully done. And so like it's one of my favorites. It's such a really amazing episode.
Yeah, I remember actually when I watched this one, it reminded me of all of these the McMurray and Mrs. McMurray telling the story about the that was like me and Allie's sick twist. Like a lot of that was me and Allie's sick twisted minds.
The gin gashes and
the gin gash. Yeah. I remember writing on that. Yeah, that was
or the dicks. Oh my gosh, those two, they get to.
Allie is really good with the dicks. She's.
I'm going to clip that right there. That's going to be. I'm going to play that for Allie next week.
Well, she is.
I'm going to open the next week's episode with Allie's really good with the dicks. Love it. Victor,
it's crazy. I'm scrolling through this. This is how much this is just. So starting from here, this is all just the gin. Oh, wait, you can't see.
That's the famous Google Docs we keep on hearing about, though. That's exciting.
Gin jokes, which is funny when we spend a lot of time on like one part. And I don't even know if any of that. I'm assuming some of that got used. Otherwise, let me see what there's anything in here that stands out. I don't know why I didn't go through this before.
All right, we'll just have to have you on for a part 2. It's no problem.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. But we love having return guests, so we'll do that again. Victor, do you have any final questions?
Well, let's see. Why don't we get you to open up a little bit to our listeners with another one? So since you didn't really discover yourself until you were into your 20s, let's talk about before that. So, you hated the dancing. So what hobbies or interests were you kind of into as a teenager?
Well, I did love dance before university. But because I think that you have your peak as a competitive dancer when you're 18. So I think I just knew that I would never, it was going to peter out. So it's like, I think I realized I'm very competitive and I just want to be like, get better. But I knew I think I had in my head that it's like physically it's over once you're 18. I don't know why I had that. But I mean, like that is, I think I just had it in my head that I was done after 18 and I was, getting into worse shape and like drinking and binge eating and very unhealthy in university. So I just was not into the whatever. I was always very silly and class clownish and a little bit like in my own world. I would like draw a lot. I was pretty into like visual arts. Kind of across the board, kind of like an artsy, misanthropic character.
That's really cool. Do you have any of your drawings still preserved?
I have some, like old ones that it was really cute for this school project. I did like Taming of the Shrew, but I did it like Dr. Seuss style.
Oh,
it's actually incredible. I look back and it's like Taming of the Shrew. So that's what it was. And then it was all like I created all these Dr. Seussian characters and then wrote it in the prose of Dr. Seuss.
You got to put that up on your Instagram.
Substack, Instagram, come on.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing actually. I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do this thing. I mean, this is kind of like comedic. I did something I used to do alone. I did like makeovers, but reverse makeovers, and it would be like a plea of like a girl being like, "Please, I'm so beautiful. I literally can't even go into the mall without people stopping me and giving me flowers." And then I would give them makeover to get it. It was called Get Ugly, and I would draw. This is a big hobby of mine. I would draw Get Uglies. And then I would show them to my family.
Well, I'm in love with that.
Love to find that.
You have to definitely put that up. That has to be shared with the world.
Oh, okay. I wish I could find them. I feel like they're not around. Maybe I gotta look for them when I'm at home.
There you go. Well, you're not far from home. I mean, it's Vaughan, right?
Don't tell my parents that. I'm very busy.
Oh, Matt, your question?
Yeah, so I always round this, and you kind of half answered this, but you can't be a stranger to the reach that Letterkenny and even Shoresy have had now. Like they have got a bit of a cult following. You must have seen in the States when you've traveled.
Oh my God, yeah.
What has it meant to you to be a part of all this?
Like the world, I can't stress enough how much this has changed my life and how it's a dream come true, getting to do that tour and getting to actually see and feel the love from the crowds. It's been, I feel like I can't put it into words. like words and I like describing my life through words, and it's one that I can't encapsulate into anything more than that. It just means the world to me. Like it's my dream come true. It feels perfect. Like it's like the biggest Canadian show that is also international, and like I happened to get a job on it when I was 25, and now I can just do stand up, and now I can get my visa, and like now I can continue to try to make my dreams come true because I was given this opportunity. Like I feel like I'm the luckiest girl in the fucking world. I can't believe it. Like I didn't know any of this was possible. I didn't know my life could be this good. I'm so unbelievably grateful to Jared and everyone at New Metric.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Yes.
It's deserved. We've seen you. You're amazing. All the absolute best in the future, Olivia.
Yeah, and enjoy that tour. So, I mean, you're a really great follow on IG. Is that the best place to follow you?
Follow me on IG. I really want to get followers on Substack. If you like my writing, which you claim to, if you're fucking fan of
allegedly.
Allegedly. Follow me on Substack. I do some comedic writing on there. It's like personal essays. I'm still evolving and figuring out what it's going to be. Yeah, follow me on there.
All right, so follow Olivia on Substack and
Instagram.
IG.
Yeah, Instagram's good.
And tag us or shoot stuff to us anytime.
Yeah,
we'll obviously talk it up everywhere we can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
We will amplify where we can. Enjoy the tour, have fun, and maybe when you come back, like when the tour is done, we can do a wrap up and have you and Ali and Jeff on. I know that Mark's not, the biggest fan of being on podcasts, but Jeff has offered to come back on. So it'd be really great to have you guys on for maybe a wrap up of the tour.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
All right.
You're the best.
Thank you so much. And we're going to play off here with a song from last week, Take Me to the Freeway by the Genders.
I'm free. Ain't nothing gonna bother me. Said I'm free. Well, ain't nothing gonna bother me.
And that's all we have for this episode. If you'd like to support the podcast, please tell a friend. Also follow us on most social media outlets at ProTestantPod. Thank you for joining us. Now we're going to go make Victor go head to head with our new friend Olivia in a Patreon exclusive roast battle. That's sure to get the numbers of patrons go through the roof. On behalf of Olivia, Tanya, Matt, Victor, and myself, thank you for listening and have a great week.